The first time Marcus walked through the doors of Ridgewood High, the morning air felt cool on his face. He carried a new backpack and kept his schedule folded like a map in his pocket. He told himself a school was a school, hallways, lockers, classrooms, but his heart still tapped fast. Marcus was tall for his age, but he kept his shoulders small. He wore a gray hoodie, jeans, and clean shoes his mother had scrubbed the night before. His eyes took in the bulletin board, the trophy case, the circle of friends near the office. He noticed how some students glanced at him and then away. He had moved many times and knew the first day pattern. People would guess things about him before they learned his name. Some would be kind, some would test him. He could not choose their actions, only his own steps and words. His first class was English in room 204. Inside, posters of novels and neat rows of desks sat in soft light. The teacher, Ms. Turner, stood at the front with a coffee cup. "Good morning," she said when she saw him. "Find a seat anywhere." Anywhere sounded open, but Marcus saw it was not. Many desks already had backpacks on them. The empty ones were in the front row or tucked in corners. He chose a desk in the middle, close enough to see, far enough to feel safe. No bag on the chair. He walked toward it. 3 boys leaned over their desks on that row. One wore a baseball cap turned backward, another had a jacket with the school logo, and the third spun a pen between his fingers. As Marcus reached for the chair, the cap boy stretched his arm across it, slow and deliberate, like placing a barrier. "Taken," the boy said, still looking at his friends. Marcus kept his voice steady. "I didn't see a bag." Still, "Taken," the jacket boy added, smiling without warmth. "Our friend sits there." Marcus glanced at nearby desks. They were full. He did not want trouble, and he had promised his mother he would choose calm. He pointed to another empty desk 2 seats away. "What about that one?" The pen boy shrugged. "Also taken?" His eyes slid up and down Marcus as if judging a product. "Front row might be better for you." Marcus looked at the front. 2 open desks waited inches from the board. He felt heat rise to his face. Not anger, just the thought of sitting where every eye could land. He took a breath. "I'll sit here," he said gently, and he reached for the chair again. The cap boy's arm did not move. "I said it's taken," he said, voice flat. For a second, the room felt like a jar with the lid screwed tight. Ms. Turner typed at her laptop. Marcus looked at her, then back at the boys. "The teacher said I can sit anywhere," he said, still calm. The jacket boy leaned back and balanced his chair on 2 legs. "Then sit anywhere else," he said. The words were simple, but they carried a message. He was new, he was different, and they would decide. Marcus felt the push of those words, but he did not let them enter. He stepped away from the chair and searched the room again. A girl near. The window watched, her pencil paused above her notebook. Another boy pretended to read. A seat near the door had opened. Someone had moved a bag to the floor. Marcus took it. He wrote his name at the top of the first page of his notebook. He listened to his breath until it settled. Ms. Turner started the lesson. A reading, a discussion, a short writing piece. Marcus followed each step. Now and then he felt the eyes of the 3 boys drift his way, but he stayed with the page. When the bell rang, he packed his things slowly. Patience, he reminded himself, is a quiet kind of strength. His father had taught him that. The hallway filled with motion and voices. History was next in room 318. He climbed the stairs and passed groups at their lockers. Some looked curious, some indifferent. History had a round table and chairs around it. The teacher, Mr. Patel, smiled. "You must be Marcus," he said. "Welcome. Take any open chair." Marcus chose a seat near the end. The class discussed hard choices people make in unfair times. Marcus listened then raised his hand once. He spoke about how people show who they are when things are not equal, and how small acts can still be strong. Several students nodded. Mr. Patel thanked him. The moment reminded Marcus he was not just the new kid. At lunch, he carried his tray into the cafeteria and saw the same 3 boys from English. They noticed him. The Cap boy said something and laughed. Marcus chose a table near the windows. He ate slowly and thought about his mother's hug that morning. The girl from English approached with a quiet boy from history. "Is this seat free?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus said. "I'm Maya," she said. "This is Noah." "Marcus," he replied. Maya lowered her voice. "I saw what happened in English. That wasn't right." "It's okay," Marcus said. "No," Noah said softly, "but I liked what you said in history." "Thank you," Marcus replied, and something inside him eased. They talked about clubs and teachers. It was not instant friendship, but it was a start. Marcus learned that Maya liked photography, and Noah built small robots. He told them he liked drawing sneakers and listening to old jazz. The afternoon passed without trouble. In science, a lab partner showed him where the extra pencils were, kept. In math, the teacher asked him an easy question, and he answered. He felt the day stretching toward the last bell. The final period was a study hall back in room 204. Sunlight cut across the desks at a new angle. The 3 boys were already there. Ms. Turner graded papers. Marcus chose a seat near the window and read. After a few minutes, the Cap boy strolled to the middle-row desk from the morning and rested his hand on the chair. "Still taken," he said to the air. His friends chuckled. Marcus kept reading. The Cap boy waited, then added, "Just making sure everyone knows the rules." Marcus looked up, steady. "The rules are on the wall," he said, pointing at the poster about respect. "Those are the ones I see." The Cap boy's smile thinned, but before he could answer, Ms. Turner called him back to his seat. When the final bell rang, Marcus stepped into the afternoon light and texted his mother. "First day okay? See you soon." He did not mention the desk. He wanted to tell it carefully at home. A black car waited by the curb. The window slid down, a little. His father sat inside wearing a neat suit. "How was it?" his father asked. "It was fine," Marcus said. He got in. The car moved away from the school with a quiet hum. Marcus watched the building recede. He did not know what tomorrow would bring. He only knew this. He had walked through the first day with care, found 2 friendly faces, and chosen calm over fire. Sometimes that is how you begin to belong. You hold your center. You take the next step. They drove in silence for a while. At a red light, his father glanced over. "We can talk at home," he said. Marcus nodded. The weight of the day settled, like a light coat on his shoulders. He looked ahead at the road and let himself believe that tomorrow could be better than today. The next morning began with the gentle sound of a kettle and sunlight on the kitchen tiles. Marcus sat at the small table while his mother put a bowl of oatmeal in front of him. She added sliced banana on top, the way he liked. His father read, the news on his phone, glasses low on his nose. A gray tie already knotted. "How did you sleep?" his mother asked. "Okay," Marcus said. He stirred the oatmeal and tried to make his answer sound true. His father looked up. "First days are like new shoes," he said. "A little stiff until you break them in." His mother smiled. "Wear good socks," she added. "By that, I mean speak kindly and stand tall." "I'll try," Marcus said. "Not try," his father said softly. "Do." They shared a small, warm moment, and it gave Marcus a pocket of calm he could carry into the day. He took his backpack, hugged his mother, and followed his father to the car. The neighborhood was quiet, trees lining the street like patient guards. On the way to school, his father did not speak much. He liked silence in the morning, but at a red light he asked, "Any trouble yesterday?" Marcus thought of the desk and the boys. "Nothing that I can't handle," he said. His father studied his face for a second. "Good," he said. "Remember, calm is not weakness. It is control." The car stopped near the drop-off zone. "Call if you need me," his father said. "I will," Marcus replied, and meant it. Inside the building, the hallways moved like slow rivers. Marcus walked with the flow. He said hello to the lady at the office who wore a bright scarf. He found his locker, which had a new number he was still learning by heart. He placed his books inside and took what he needed for English. When he entered room 204, he saw the same three boys in the middle row. The cap boy sat half-turned in his chair, one knee hooked over the other. The jacket boy leaned back again on two legs. The pen boy twirled faster today, as if something inside him had quick hands. Marcus looked at the desk from yesterday. There was a paper on it now. Big letters said, "Reserved." The word was cut from a magazine and glued down as if to make it official. He felt a small sting, the kind you feel from cold air on a tooth. He did not want to make a scene. He walked to the window row and put his notebook down. When Ms. Turner entered, she scanned the room with tired eyes, then took attendance. "Ms. Turner," Marcus said, raising a hand when the list ended. "May I ask about seating?" She paused. "We don't have assigned seats," she said. "I know," Marcus replied in a steady voice. "But some desks are marked reserved, and I wasn't sure if that was a rule." Several heads turned. The cap boy looked amused, like a person at a show. Ms. Turner frowned at the paper. "We do not reserve desks," she said. She walked to the middle row, peeled the paper off, dropped it in the trash, and moved on. "Take your seats, everyone." It was a small thing, but it felt like sunlight moving across a cool floor. The boys said nothing. They only shared a, "Look, that said, not yet." The lesson was about character change in a story. Students read and then wrote about how a person shifts slowly over time. Marcus found it easy to write about change. He wrote about water wearing down stone and about how a person can be strong in a quiet way. When time ended, Miss Turner collected papers. Her eyes paused a moment longer on his name. "Thank you, Marcus," she said. It was simple, but it made the room feel different for a second. In the hallway after class, the three boys drifted near his locker like shadows. The cap boy spoke first. "Fancy speech in there," he said. "You want a gold star?" "No," Marcus said, opening his locker. "Just a desk." "Looks like you want the middle row," the jacket boy said. "Popular spot." "I want a fair spot," Marcus said. "Fair," the pen boy echoed, like the word was a coin he was turning over. "Interesting idea." Before the air could thicken, a math teacher passed by and said, "Heading to class, gentlemen?" The boys pressed away from the locker bank and slid into the stream of students. Marcus took a breath and told himself, step by step. History class welcomed him with the round table and Mr. Patel's warm eyes. Today's topic was how small actions can push a large wheel. Students shared short examples. When it was his turn, Marcus spoke about a crossing guard he used to know who learned every kid's name and changed the mood of a whole corner. The class listened. Noah glanced at him and smiled. After the bell, Mr. Patel stopped him. "You make careful points," Mr. Patel said. "Would you consider joining the debate club? It's not about arguing. It's about listening and building." "I could try," Marcus said. "Not try," Mr. Patel replied with a grin. "Do." The word echoed his father's tone, and it gave Marcus a quiet strength. He carried it to lunch. Maya waved the moment he entered the cafeteria. Her camera hung around her neck. Noah sat beside her, a lunchbox open like a toolbox of food. "I saved you a seat," Maya said, and patted the bench. Thanks, Marcus said, sitting. He looked around. The three boys were at their usual table, laughing in a way that did not match the words he could not hear. He turned his attention to his own table. Maya showed him a flyer on her phone. Yearbook wants more students from different grades and activities. You draw, right? You could help with layouts. And there's track tryouts on Friday. Noah nodded. You look fast, he said, as if speed were a color he could see. I like to run, Marcus admitted. I don't know about track, but maybe. Coach Ramirez is fair, Maya said. He cares about effort. I'll think about it, Marcus said, and the idea felt like a door with a small light behind it. The afternoon brought science lab. Partner work started with quiet shuffling of stools and the faint smell of markers. Marcus was paired with a boy named Ethan who had neat handwriting and a careful way of measuring liquid. They built a simple circuit. When the tiny bulb glowed, Ethan smiled. It's the small wins, he said. After lab, Ms. Reed, the hall monitor, stopped Marcus near the stairs. How are you settling in? She asked. She had kind eyes and a no-nonsense posture. Getting there, Marcus said. She lowered her voice. If anyone gives you trouble, you can talk to me or the counselor. Thank you, he said. It was a relief to hear an adult say it out loud. Study hall returned him to room 204, but the light at this hour was softer, the edges of desks glowing gently. He chose the window seat again. He took out his sketchbook instead of his reading book. Shoes appeared on the paper under his pencil, bold shapes, careful seams, a whisper of shadow. Drawing was a way to hold the world still for a minute. Maya passed by and paused. You did that? She asked. Yeah, Marcus said, a little shy. It's clean, she said. May I take a photo? Sure, he said. She took 2 quick shots, then gave him a thumbs up. Across the room, the cap boy noticed. He leaned toward the jacket boy and said something. They looked at Marcus, then at each other, as if trying to decide what game to play next. Nothing happened that period, and Marcus was grateful. He kept his head down and let the soft hour pass. After the final bell, the hallway felt like it was exhaling. Marcus stopped at his locker. When he opened it, his notebook was not where he had left it. He checked the top shelf, the bottom, the side. Pocket. It was gone. His stomach dipped. He kept notes in that book. Homework, thoughts, small sketches he did not show anyone. He turned and saw the jacket boy leaning against the wall nearby. The boy lifted his hands in a mock surrender pose. Lose something? He asked. Did you see my notebook? Marcus asked, steady. Not my problem, the cap boy said, appearing behind him as if from the air. The pen boy smiled softly. Check the lost and found, he said. Things sometimes get lost. Marcus knew this was a test. He could feel the urge to chase them, to raise his voice, to push against a wall that moved only to make fun of, the pushing. He did none of that. He took a slow breath. He scanned the lockers around him. On top of a nearby radiator, tucked just out of sight, he saw the familiar spiral binding. He walked to it and picked up his notebook. He checked the pages. Nothing was torn. A new note, however, sat inside, one line written in big letters, front row. He closed the notebook. Found it, he said, and he met their eyes one by one. Thanks. They blinked, as if they had expected a different scene. Ms. Reed's voice cut through the hall. Let's move, folks. The boys drifted off, but their looks said, later. Outside, the sky was a clear blue that made everything sharp. Marcus sat on a low wall and texted his mother. Day 2, okay, some small stuff, nothing big. He paused, then added, thinking of trying track. Her reply came quick. Yes, run with your whole heart. He put the phone away and started the walk to the pickup zone. As he went, He heard his name and turned. Mr. Patel approached with a gentle stride. "I found this on a chair," he said, holding up a paper. "Your history reflection from today. Strong lines. Thank you for sharing your mind." "Thank you," Marcus said. He slid the paper into his folder and felt steadier. The black car pulled up a minute later. The window went down, and his father's eyes looked him over like a careful scan. Marcus got in. The car moved with that quiet hum again. "How was day 2?" his father asked. "Better," Marcus said. "I spoke in class. I might join debate, maybe track." His father's mouth made a small approving shape. "Good. Teams are shields and mirrors. They can protect you and show you who you are." "There were some desk games," Marcus said. He kept his voice even. "A note, a missing notebook that I found." His father's jaw moved once, a tiny shift. "Names?" he asked. "I know their faces." His father nodded. Marcus woke up before his alarm and lay still for a moment, listening to the quiet house. A soft gray light touched the curtains. He remembered the plan he made the night before. 3 laps, steady pace, stretch, water. He sat up, tied his laces, and stepped into the cool morning air. The street was empty, except for a cat that watched him from a porch. He started to jog, slow and smooth, letting his breath find a rhythm. He counted his steps in sets of 8. By the second lap, his body felt warmer and his mind clearer. By the third, he was not thinking about the hallway or the desk. He was thinking about the shape of the day and how he wanted to stand inside it. When he came back, his father was in the kitchen with a small stopwatch. "Time," his father said, pressing the button. He told Marcus the minutes and seconds with a nod of approval. "You kept a steady pace. That is good. Speed comes from steadiness before it comes from push." "I'll run again tomorrow," Marcus said, breathing evenly now. He stretched as his mother set a glass of water on the counter. "Stretch your calves," she said, "and eat a good breakfast." They ate scrambled eggs with toast. His mother asked if debate club still sounded interesting. He said yes. His father raised his eyebrows in a small, proud line. "Listening well will make you strong in any room," he said. On the drive, the city woke up around them. Buses hummed, lights changed, and a bakery released warm smells into the air. Marcus sat in the quiet of the car and watched his school approach. At the curb, his father tapped the wheel once. "If you meet a door that does not open," he said, "knock again, but with care." "I will," Marcus said. He got out and shouldered his backpack. He waved once and walked toward the front doors. Inside, the hall felt almost familiar now. He greeted the lady at the office and spun the numbers of his locker code without pausing. His hands remembered the turn. When he walked into English, he looked at the middle row desk. No paper on it today, no reserved. The 3 boys were there, though, sitting in their same places, quiet in a way that was more focused than before. The cap boy met his eyes for half a second, then looked down at his phone. The pen boy's fingers were still. The jacket boy tapped, his foot under the chair. Marcus took his seat by the window and opened his notebook. Ms. Turner began with a quick warm-up about describing a place without naming it. He wrote about the track curve from his sketch last night, how it held a promise of speed. He did not write the word track. When volunteers read, the room filled with different corners of the world. Someone described a grandmother's kitchen. Someone else described the inside of a bus. Ms. Turner smiled often. "Words can carry us," she said. When she collected the pages, she paused again at Marcus's work. "Nice image," she said. He nodded in thanks. When the bell rang, the cap boy slid into the aisle ahead of Marcus and walked at a slow pace that made others shift around him. The jacket boy turned slightly, as if waiting for Marcus to pass close. Nothing happened. Sometimes nothing happening is its own kind of tension. Marcus kept a small space, stepped around a backpack on the floor, and followed the stream into the hall. At his locker, Mr. Patel appeared, a stack of papers in his hand. "Debate club meets today after school in room 310, he said. "If you come, you can just listen the first time." "I'll be there," Marcus said. The words felt good to say. History was smooth. They read about a leader who changed a city by changing how meetings were run. Students discussed how process shapes outcomes. Marcus listened more than he spoke. When he did speak, it was to say that fairness is not a feeling. It is a structure. Mr. Patel nodded as if he were filing that sentence in a safe place. At lunch, Maya waved again, her camera resting on the table like a small companion. Noah had a tiny robot in his hands, careful and bright. "It can follow. A line," he said, drawing a loop with a marker on scrap paper. The robot trembled and then rolled forward, gently tracing the dark path. Marcus laughed. "It's like a tiny brave car," he said. Maya took a photo of the robot's journey and then turned her camera toward Marcus's tray and hands. "Yearbook needs details," she said. "Sometimes hands tell the whole day." Halfway through lunch, the room tightened very slightly. Marcus felt it before he looked up. The three boys had shifted into a cluster near their table, not close. Enough to be right there, but close enough to be felt. The cap boy glanced at his phone and then at Marcus. The jacket boy whispered something. The pen boy held his phone angled, like a person holding a small mirror to catch light. Maya noticed the change in air. "Ignore them," she said, her voice easy but her eyes alert. Noah adjusted the robot's wheel as if nothing else existed. The Catboy stepped toward their table with a casual swing and stopped at a respectful distance. "Hey, Marcus," he said, very friendly. "We were looking at some news, and your last name showed up. That's interesting." He showed his phone for 1 second. Too quick to read fully, but long enough to see a photo of a man in a dark suit stepping out of a building, flashes in the background, the word "investigation" somewhere in a headline. "Is that your dad?" The cap boy asked in a voice that tried to sound curious and harmless. Marcus looked at the screen and then back at the boy. "My father is a private person," he said quietly. "I don't discuss family online, and I don't discuss it at lunch." The jacket boy made a small O-shaped mouth like he was impressed. The pen boy smiled without showing teeth. "Fair enough," he said. "We're just interested in who our classmates are. We can learn about each other by how we treat each other here," Marcus said. "That's enough for me." Ms. Reed, who seemed to move through the cafeteria like a silent guardian, appeared near their table. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus said. "Good," she said, and stayed a moment longer than needed before continuing on. Boys drifted back to their table, their heads together as they spoke. Maya let out a breath. "You handled that well." "I just said a line," Marcus said. "Lines can be kind." "Very debate club of you," Noah said, smiling. The afternoon carried him to science and then to math. At the end of math, as students packed their bags, a message on the classroom speaker asked Marcus to come to the office before the last period. His stomach did a small, surprised flip. He picked up his things and walked down the hall. The office smelled like paper and a little bit of lemon cleaner. The secretary smiled. "The principal will see you in a minute," she said. He sat on a chair and watched people move in and out. After a short wait, Principal Harris, a tall man with calm eyes, opened his door. "Marcus, come in." Marcus took a seat. Principal Harris folded his hands. "I like to check in with new students after a few days," he said. "How are you settling in?" "Getting to know the building," Marcus said. "Making a few friends." "Good," the principal said. "I also heard from a teacher that there was a small situation with a desk on your first day. She removed a sign that should not have been there. I'm sorry that happened." "Thank you," Marcus said. "If anything bothers you, you can come to me," the principal added. We want every student to feel safe and respected. I will, Marcus said. Principal Harris nodded. Also, your father called this morning to ask about my availability after school. I'll be meeting him briefly in the front office. He said he just wanted to say hello and hear how you were adjusting. Marcus felt a mild warmth and a mild worry at the same time. Okay, he said. Nothing to worry about, the principal said, perhaps reading his face. We like involved parents. Marcus thanked him and went to study hall. In room 204, the light was soft again, the kind that makes everything look like a quiet photograph. He pulled out his sketchbook and drew the office chairs he had just seen. The straight backs, the small wheels, the plant in the corner. Drawing always made places make sense. When the final bell rang, the hallway filled with that end-of-day energy. Marcus went to his locker and packed his bag. He heard a voice, "Hey, Marcus," and turned. The Cap boy stood there, a little straight, his friendliness now very careful. "We're cool, right?" he said. "We are classmates," Marcus said, which was true, and also a choice. "Your ride's here," the jacket boy said, nodding toward the front doors. Marcus walked toward the entrance with measured steps. The school's glass doors threw the afternoon light back at him. Through them, he saw the familiar black car. He also saw his father standing outside it, talking with Principal Harris. His father's suit was dark, his tie neat, his shoes quietly polished. He stood like someone who was not in a hurry but was used to time obeying him. He shook the principal's hand. The principal gestured toward the building, said a few words, and smiled. A few students slowed as they passed. Some whispered. One girl took a second look and then kept moving. The three boys stopped just inside the doors as if they had plans to go out and then suddenly remembered something they had forgotten to do right there. Marcus pushed the door open. His father's face changed with a softness that only family could pull from him. "There you are," his father said. He put a hand on Marcus's shoulder in a way that said everything without saying anything. "Marcus is doing well, Principal," Harris said. "He's thoughtful in class. We're glad to have him." "Thank you for making room for him to grow," his father said, his voice calm and warm. He looked at the school as if it were a person he respected. "If there is anything he needs to do better, tell him. He will improve. That is our way." The Cap boy and his friends were C. Morning came with a pale gold sky and a soft breeze that moved the curtains. Marcus woke before the alarm again, tied his laces, and stepped outside for his run. The street was quiet, with only a delivery truck rolling by and a bird calling from a wire. He set a steady pace and counted his breaths, 4 in, 4 out. On the last lap, he pictured the school hall not as a place of problems, but as a track curve he could take with balance and care. When he came home, his father clicked the stopwatch and gave a small nod. His mother passed him water and said, "Listen to your legs, not your worries." He smiled, because that was exactly what running felt like, listening. At breakfast, the talk was simple. What to pack for lunch, what time debate club met next week, when track tryouts would be. As they drove, his father said, "Every day you write a line in a long story. Keep the lines neat." Marcus looked out the window at the trees and felt ready to write a good line. Inside school, the office scarf lady waved. Marcus spun the numbers of his locker by feel. When he walked into English, he saw the middle row and did not flinch. The desk sat there like any other desk. The three boys were present, but something in their posture had changed. They were less loose, more careful. The Cap boy glanced up and then dropped his eyes to his notebook. Ms. Turner began class with a short piece on how respect shows itself in small actions. She did not look at anyone in particular. She simply read, then asked. The class for examples. A few hands went up. Marcus spoke about how moving a bag off a chair can be an act of welcome. Ms. Turner's eyes softened and she wrote small acts on the board. After class, Marcus found a note in his locker from the counseling office. It was an invitation, not a summons. Restorative conversation at 11:30 in room 112. Goal, understanding and better days. He showed it to Mr. Patel before history. Mr. Patel read it and said, "These circles can help. Keep your voice steady and your ears open." History became a bridge to that meeting. The class spoke about how communities repair trust after small harms. The timing felt tidy, like the day had arranged itself. At 11:25, Marcus headed to room 112. The space had chairs in a circle, a small plant on a table, and a poster that said, "We can do hard things kindly." The counselor, Ms. Alvarez, greeted him with a warm smile. "Thank you for coming," she said. "We want this to be fair and useful." A minute later, the door opened, and the three boys entered together. It was the first time Marcus learned their names. The cap boy was Cole. The jacket boy was Brandon. The pen boy was Sean. Principal Harris came in as well and sat slightly to the side, relaxed but attentive. Ms. Turner joined, and Ms. Reed leaned against the wall with her kind, sharp eyes. "We're here to talk about the first days," Ms. Alvarez said. "Not to punish, but to understand and agree on what happens next." She passed around a small, smooth stone. When you hold the stone, you speak. When you do not, you listen. Marcus held the stone first. He spoke in simple words. "I moved here. I was new. I wanted to sit in the middle to feel part of the class. I was blocked. It felt like I was being told I did not belong. I did not want to fight. I wanted a fair day." He passed the stone to Cole. Cole turned the stone in his hand and stared at it like it could give him answers. "We thought we were joking," he said. "We've always sat there. We didn't think about how it looked or felt to him." He shrugged once, then added, "We got carried away." Brandon spoke next. "I liked feeling like I ran the row," he admitted, voice lower. "It was dumb. I see that now. I wouldn't want that done to me." Sean looked at Marcus and said, "I saw you kept calm. It made me feel not proud of what we were doing." Ms. Turner spoke when the stone came to her. "I missed my moment on the first day," she said, soft but firm. "I should have stepped in faster. I am sorry, Marcus." Ms. Reed nodded. "We all build the hall together," she said. "No one gets to put a fence across a path." "Principal," Harris added. "We want you boys to be leaders for good." Ms. Alvarez guided them to practical steps. "Let's set agreements," she said. They wrote them on a big pad. Ask before moving someone's things. No reserving seats without a teacher's say. If you see unkindness, step in or seek help. Speak to people by their names, not labels. They talked about repair, not payback. Brandon offered, "We can help set up for the assembly on Friday." Sean said, "I can make a sign for room 204 that says open seats are open to all." Cole looked at Marcus and said, "If you want that middle desk, it's yours. Or any desk. I won't block you." Marcus said, "I'll sit where I learn best. If the middle is open, I may take it sometimes. If not, I'll sit by the window. I want a fair room more than a particular chair." Before they closed, Ms. Alvarez asked if anyone wanted to add something personal. Marcus thought of his father, the whispers, the lunch scene with the phone. He chose his words with care. "People can carry stories about a person that are not fully true," he said. "I would rather you see me here in class, by how I act, not by any headline or rumor." The boys nodded, and something in their faces changed from tight to thoughtful. Ms. Alvarez thanked them and set a check-in for next week. As they stood to leave, the door opened and Mr. DeLuca stepped in. He wore a simple jacket today, not a formal suit. He had called ahead, the principal explained, and asked if he could say a few words at the end, not to take over, just to add a parent voice. Ms. Alvarez agreed. Mr. DeLuca looked around the circle with calm eyes. Thank you for caring for my son, he said. Thank you for making a space where boys can become men who build and repair. He paused, choosing each word. Respect is not fear. Respect is quiet care for the room you share. If you keep that thought, you will do well anywhere. He nodded to each boy, not heavy, not light, just human. Then he thanked the staff and stepped out as quietly as he had arrived. Lunch that day had a different air. Marcus sat with Maya and Noah. The 3 boys passed by and did not hover. Cole gave a small nod at Marcus's table, not asking for a scene or a reply. Maya whispered, "Circle work?" Marcus said yes. "Good," she said. "I like days that end better than they start." In the afternoon, news came over the speaker. Track tryouts tomorrow after school. Coach Ramirez also posted sign-up. Sheets near the gym. Marcus wrote his name and felt a light spark in his chest. As he turned, he saw Brandon at the same sheet, writing his own name 2 lines below. Their eyes met. Brandon said, "I throw discus, but I have to run laps too." Marcus smiled. "See you there." Study hall returned him to room 204, where the light curved across the floor like a ribbon. The new sign Sean promised was all ready. Up near the board, "Open seats are open to all." The letters were clean and friendly. Marcus chose the middle desk for the first 10 minutes, then moved to the window when he started sketching. Ms. Turner noticed and smiled as if to say, "The room is working." She walked past the 3 boys and gave them a quiet thank you for helping her move a heavy box earlier. Kindness was making small loops around the class, like soft thread pulling edges together. At the final bell, Marcus went to the gym to ask Coach Ramirez a question about tryouts. The coach had a whistle around his neck and a steady voice. "We start with warm-ups," he said. "Then we'll time a short run. Come ready to listen and to try." He looked at Marcus's shoes and said, "Good laces." On his way out, Marcus passed the robotics room. Noah waved him in and showed him a bigger project, a robot arm that could pick up small blocks. "Patience and angles," Noah said. "That's the secret." Marcus held the controller and moved the arm slowly until it lifted a block and set it back down. "Nice," Noah said. "You're good at slow and steady." The front hall was bright when Marcus reached it. He saw his father talking with Principal Harris again, but this time they stood near a flyer board. The principal pointed to a poster about a kindness week next month. Mr. DeLuca said he could help the school library by donating a set of classic books in Marcus's name if the school wished. "Anonymous is also fine," he added quickly. "I don't want any special credit. I just want better shelves." The principal thanked him and said the library would be grateful. There was no edge in Mr. DeLuca's voice, no show. He was not throwing weight around. He was adding quiet support where it could help. As they walked to the car, Marcus saw Cole near the doors. Cole took a breath and spoke. "Marcus," he said, "I'm sorry about the first day. I'm working on being better." His voice was plain and honest. Marcus nodded. "Thanks," he said. "I'm working on understanding people faster." They stood there a second, 2 boys the same age learning the art of a clean restart. On the drive home, Marcus told his father about the circle, the agreements, the sign, the tryout sheet. His father listened and did not interrupt. At a light, he said, "You handled yourself well. You stood straight without knocking anyone down." The car moved on. That is real strength. Evening settled with homework and a simple dinner. Marcus kept his phone face down and the window open a crack. He stretched for track. He drew in his sketchbook. A circle of chairs, a small smooth stone, a sign near a board. Then he added a track curve rising from that circle, as if kindness and speed were lines in the same design. Before bed, a message arrived from Maya. "I'm doing a photo story for the yearbook called First Weeks. Can I include your hands drawing and a picture of the new sign?" Marcus replied, "Yes." Noah texted a short video of the robot arm. It's learning to pick up 2 blocks. The morning of tryouts began with cool air and a pale sun. Marcus tied his laces, stepped outside, and ran his plan. Steady pace, soft feet, even breath. He counted 4 steps in, 4 steps out. The street was quiet except for a dog across the road wagging its tail. On his last lap, he pictured the school track like a clean line through a busy day. He finished the run feeling calm and warm inside. His father clicked the stopwatch and told him the time, then gave a little grin that looked almost like a line of sunlight. His mother handed him water and said, "Listen to your body. It knows what to do." They ate toast and eggs. The house felt like a good coat around him. On the drive, his father said, "You lead with your choices, not your name. Keep your choices neat." Marcus nodded and watched the sidewalks roll by. He felt ready. Inside school, the office scarf lady waved at him again, like they had known each other for years. He spun his locker numbers without looking down. Adio. Code lived in his hands now. He went to English and saw the middle row and the window row and felt easy with both. The 3 boys were there too. Cole's cap sat on his desk, not on his head. Brandon's jacket was folded for once. Sean's pen lay still on a blank page as if waiting for better words. Ms. Turner started class with a writing warm-up. Describe a person by their actions. Marcus wrote about a classmate who moved a bag off a chair so someone else could sit. He did not write a name. He did not need to. When volunteers shared, several students talked about kindness as if it were a small tool you could keep in your pocket. Ms. Turner said, "Kindness is practical." She looked around the room with a clear, steady gaze that made everyone sit a little straighter. Between classes, a small poster on the hallway screen caught Marcus's eye. First weeks. A photo story. Maya's pictures slid by. One showed hands drawing a sneaker. Another showed the sign in room 204. Open seats are open to all. Another showed a circle of chairs from the counseling room, with light on the floor like a soft path. Students paused to look. Some smiled. One girl said, "That's a smart sign." Someone else said, "I like the hands." Before history, Ms. Alvarez met Marcus by the door and gave a quick update. "We'll do a short check-in next week," she said. "Thank you for your voice in the circle. The agreements are posted in both rooms now." Marcus said thanks and felt a gentle thread tie his day to something steady. History flowed. Mr. Patel spoke about building trust in a community. He used simple examples. Doors held open, names learned well, listening without planning your reply. First, when he asked for thoughts, Sean raised his hand and said, "I think trust is a chain of small things." Mr. Patel wrote that on the board and nodded. Marcus added, "And when a link breaks, you fix the link, not throw the chain away." The class hummed with that idea for a moment, like a quiet note. Lunch brought the easy comfort of sitting with Maya and Noah. Maya had new photos of the robotics room. Noah showed a clip of the robot arm picking up 2 blocks in a row. "Patience and angles," he said again, smiling to himself. Cole walked by and gave a small nod. Brandon pointed at the track flyer and said to no one in particular, "See, you out there." Sean tapped the corner of the sign photo on the screen and said, "Clean letters." The air around the table felt good, like a window open just the right amount. The afternoon rolled toward tryouts. Marcus changed in the locker room. He lined up with students he did not yet know, and a few he did. Coach Ramirez blew the whistle. They warmed up. Light jog, high knees, hip circles, easy stretches. The track smelled like rubber warmed by the sun. The coach explained the plan. A short-time trial first, then drills. When it was Marcus's turn, he stepped to the line. He chose the 400 meters because it matched the curve from his sketches. He shook out his arms. He reminded himself, steady first, Speed later. The whistle blew. He ran the first straight without sprinting. He relaxed his jaw and kept his eyes on the line. On the back curve, his legs felt heavy for a second. He told himself one more step, and then one more. On the final straight, he heard a few voices from the infield, Maya's, Noah's, even Brandon's. "You got it!" someone called. He lifted his knees a bit more and finished with a clean push. He bent and put his hands on his knees, then stood tall again, breathing in and out, counting to 4. Coach Ramirez checked the watch and nodded. "Good control," the coach said. "We'll build from here." He wrote down the time. Cole jogged past on his own lap and said, "Nice finish." Sean handed Marcus a paper cup of water, shy and plain. Brandon stood by a throwing ring, rolling a discus in his palm like a moon. "Warm-ups later," he said. "You ran neat." After drills, the coach called everyone in and posted a simple list. Sprinters for more practice on Tuesday. Field tryouts tomorrow. Distance group meet on Thursday. Marcus's name sat under the sprint group. He felt a small, warm light turn on in his chest. Not a shout, just a light. He showered fast, changed, and went to room 310 for debate club. Mr. Patel led a short practice. "Speak from where you stand," he said, "not from where you wish you stood." They practiced building a point with 3 steps. Marcus spoke about how rules in a classroom can make room for everyone and how quiet fairness is stronger than loud habit. The group listened. It felt like running, but with sentences. At the end of the school day, an announcement called students to the gym for a short assembly about clubs and teams. The bleachers filled. The principal welcomed everyone and thanked students who helped make the first week smoother. He said, "We want a school where every student sees a clear path." He asked leaders from clubs to share one sentence. When it was debate's turn, Mr. Patel waved Marcus forward. Marcus stepped to the center line, held the mic gently and said, "Respect is quiet care for the room we share." The gym fell still for a breath and then gave a soft ripple of claps. It was not loud. It was good. From the corner, Marcus saw his father by the door with Principal Harris. He must have arrived a few minutes earlier and chosen a quiet spot. He did not wave. He only watched with a small, steady pride that Marcus could feel even from far away. After the assembly, Marcus walked to the front hall. His father met him, near the poster board. "I heard your line," his father said. It was clean. His voice had a softness he saved for home. They stepped outside into late light. In the car, they sat for a moment without moving. City sounds drifted in. A bus, a bicycle bell, a laugh. His father looked out the windshield and spoke slowly. "People write many stories about other people. Some are fair, some are not. What matters is the story you write with your actions." He paused. "I have carried many names in my life. Some were given to me. Some I chose. Most of all, I want you to choose your names with care. Today, you chose calm, and you chose steady. I am learning from you." Marcus looked at his father, with surprise and a full heart. "I learn from you too," he said, about standing still in a room and letting the room become calm. His father gave a small laugh. "Perhaps we are a good team," he said, each one teaching the other to walk better. On the way home, they stopped by a park. Marcus stretched near an empty bench. A breeze moved the leaves. His father sat and checked his phone for a minute, then put it away. "No more calls for today," he said. "Just this." At home, dinner was simple and warm. His mother asked about tryouts, and he told her about the last straight and the lift in his knees. She cheered softly and clapped once. "That's the good part," she said. "The choice to finish well." Later, Maya sent a link to the photo story posted on the school site. The cover image was a hallway with long light and a focus on the sign near the board. The caption read, "Open seats, Open minds. Noah sent a short video of the robot arm placing 2 blocks on a tiny shelf. Next goal, 3, he wrote. A message from an unknown number arrived. Good run today. C. Marcus guessed it was Cole. He typed back, thanks. See you Tuesday. Then another from Brandon. Throwing tomorrow. I'll still clap for sprints. Marcus smiled at the couch cushion and wrote, I'll clap for throws. Before bed, Marcus opened his sketchbook. He drew the track curve. Again, but this time he added small figures on the infield, simple lines for friends, and a small circle of chairs near the edge, like a quiet heart inside the day. He wrote 3 short lines on the bottom of the page. Fairness is a structure, kindness is a strength, respect is quiet care. Morning returned as mornings do, with gentle light and the sounds of a day starting up. In English, Ms. Turner tried a new routine. Switch seats, she said. Sit somewhere you do not usually sit. Learn a new view. The class shuffled, but it was easy, not tense. Marcus sat in the middle row for a while. Then he moved to the window for writing. Time. Cole chose the front for once and looked surprised to like it. Brandon sat near the door and helped a classmate find a dropped pencil. Sean moved to the back and said he could see the whole board better. The room breathed evenly. At lunch, the 3 boys stood by the track flyer again. Brandon talked about footwork in the ring. Cole asked Marcus if he had a favorite run music playlist, then laughed and said, or maybe you run with just air. Marcus said, just air, and they all smiled at the same time for the first time. After school, track practice felt like the beginning of something steady. Coach taught them a drill called strides, fast but relaxed. Marcus learned the feel of fast without tight. Brandon practiced spins with the discus and cown.